right, we're going to jump into some Andor spoiler talk.
Episode 5.
5. We're already like really far into this.
Almost
series.
halfway. Right? 12 total.
Almost.
Yes.
Yeah, we're almost
halfway.
We're almost halfway.
Nothing's happened. No, just kidding.
You read my mind, Jonah. You read my mind.
It's a slow burn, baby. It's a slow burn.
Okay, do you guys want me to start or do you guys want to start?
Let's start with the negative first.
No, so
So go ahead.
I've really enjoyed this series. I
Have
think
you?
it's yes. Like in the past, I've said I've really enjoyed these episodes. This was the first time I felt it really hit a speed bump and really got slow for me. The other episodes, I was really like invested into it. Really liked seeing what was going on. Liked Cassian's story. Episode 4, I was like, the group he's with, I'm really that not interested. And then episode 5 was like, most of the time was spent with them, and I got really bored. My favorite stuff was the Mon Mothma stuff in the episode 4, the Luthen stuff, and the ISB Empire, kind of that kind of stuff. And there was hardly any of that in this episode, I felt. And so I was kind of a little let down by this episode. I thought it was boring. I thought it dragged on, and I thought they kept showing us the same thing. They don't trust him. We get it. We got that in episode 4. Now show me another scene where, let me look through his bag. Hey, why are you looking through my bag? Oh, well, because they told me to. I don't trust you. Well, yeah. Well. And then, why are you grabbing this? Because I don't trust you. And then, see, he's a liar. He's got this. I'm like, I've seen this scene like 5 times, and I get it. I know what you're trying to, like, can we move it along? It just felt that way for me. I get it. It's a slow burn. I have no problem with that. I don't care that there wasn't any action. It's not like I was like, I want stormtroopers.
Sounds like it.
It
Sounds
just
like it.
felt to me like they were doing the same scene over and over again. And I was like, I get it. I understand that they don't trust him. You've been doing this for 2 episodes now. And I felt like nothing really happened. There was a scene with the guy, I can't remember his name, the guy from the not the Imperial officer, but the guy that we don't like, the guy that was a snitch.
Yeah.
He goes with his mom.
Yeah.
Oh,
And they have 2
yeah.
scenes that are exactly the
Yeah.
same.
They are.
They're sitting at the table and
go
they're
over the
talking
same stuff.
And the mom's voice is like, we're gonna call
She's
your
smoke.
uncle.
She's a smoker.
And I was like, this scene is the exact same scene. Like there was no need to have both those scenes in there. For me in general, at least.
for us. You can speak for us at this point, bro.
And so
Let's go.
they had him on a couple Mon Mothma scenes, but not much that, like, that's my favorite stuff. That and the Empire stuff. They had a scene with the Empire, but again, it was really short. And so every time a scene like that would come on, I'd be like, okay, this is what I want to see. And then it'd be like, it's done. And then it's like, let's go back to these guys not trusting Cassian and him. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I still really like the series, and I know some people really love this episode, but for me, it just felt like it was rehashing the same stuff. It kind of felt like just a retrotting of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was definitely the most boring episode for sure. Basically, just a lot of setup.
Yeah.
For something that sounds more interesting in the future. I still like you said, I still like the show. This doesn't turn me off the show in any way, but it was probably the worst episode so far, but still some interesting things here and there in the episode.
Yes. 2 questions, Jonah. First, how dare you? No, I'm just kidding. I agree. It was definitely one of the slower episodes. For me, I don't think it didn't bother me like, they don't trust him kind of a thing. I get that it can be kind of like a retread of stuff, but I still really like kind of him trying to get their approval, I guess, or trust.
Yeah.
And I really like that he finally does get it, because at first I thought, they're going to find out during the mission that, he's a mercenary and he's just in it for the money and it's going to cause an issue. So I like that it kind of
happened before.
Preempted that he was like, they don't trust me, and I'm going to go ahead and tell them something that may or may not gain their trust, but I'm going to be honest with them. So I like that aspect of it. And then you do get that moment with the guy that's like, she wants me to tell you about my brother, all that stuff. And that kind of allows Cassian to get some more growth, that he's like, I'm in it for the money, these people are actually in it for the cause. So we get some growth towards Rogue One.
Yeah.
So that's why I liked it. And I did like, I think the point of it is that not a lot happens, because I think the idea is we're supposed to feel uneasy almost, like at the end where Luthen's like, they're going to be going on the mission. I need to be checking the comms. Like, that's kind of how I felt at the end of like, we're building up to something big, and it's the calm before the storm, basically. So I can understand that didn't work for you guys. I agree with that scene of the breakfast. Basically, it was like we didn't really learn much. It was like, oh, who's this uncle character?
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I got out of it. Was like, who's this uncle
They're
character?
name dropping the uncle twice. Yeah.
Like, what does he have? Like, does he have some type of power? Because it almost seemed like she was like making it seem like he could tell the future almost. At least that's how it seemed to me.
Palpatine.
Yeah, definitely. Uncle Palps. Yeah. Uncle Palpatine confirmed. Lock it in 100%. But yeah, like it did seem very strange that they would choose that. It's not like they changed the time of day either or the lighting. I was like, they're just still sitting at the table.
Yeah, it feels like they were talking for like hours.
It was like, what? Because she obviously already had a conversation with her uncle, but they were just still sitting at the table. So I agree, that was a little strange. But yeah, for me, I mean, the stuff with Cassian and the group worked for me. But I get why, it's a retread. Because I know, Corey, you've said before with a lot of the stuff of the show, it's like, you've seen it before. So I could see how, especially that, like, oh, you don't trust me, let's try and gain their trust, can be like a little redundant.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it just goes back to that whole, I wish it was 3 episodes at a time versus 1.
Yeah.
Just because, man, they retreaded on the same spot multiple times. I just kind of kept looking at the time being like, they're running out of time to actually like do anything like interesting.
Yeah.
That's
was
what I...
eating cereal,
Is this
bro.
heist gonna happen?
I was like...
Did you like the blue milk
That-
in this blue
hey,
milk cereal?
that cereal looked delicious.
I saw that and it
though.
looked really good.
I was like,
I
it's like
wanted
Captain
that.
Captain Crunch wild berries mixed with
Yeah.
Cocoa Crisp,
Yeah, it looked good.
Cocoa Puffs.
That was probably the most... No, I'm just kidding. That wasn't the most interesting thing. I actually liked the Mon Mothma scene with her
punk husband and her
bratty
bratty
kid. I was like, dang, she's got tough, man. She's got
I know.
tough.
My Mothma's got a.
I mean,
Get
if
a house in order.
I had a
Yeah,
husband
that's
and a
tough,
kid like
dude.
that, I'd start a rebellion too.
That's the whole reason. That's what drove her to it.
Yeah, it's not Palpatine. He's like, I gotta get out of this fandom, dude.
I got a
I'm
dip.
gonna start a rebellion. Hopefully, I got killed.
Nah, yeah, you guys know how I feel about it.
In the buildup, there were some
We
interesting
dropped
things.
a couple points.
There was like, the guy that doesn't trust him. I forget the names. So forgive me.
fine.
But where he has the tattoos, and you
Yeah.
see that he was
stole the
he was a
crystal.
prisoner, and so he asks where he was, detained, and so there you're like, okay, so they did kind of develop storylines there. But again, like you said, it's kind of the calm before the storm. I'd say more like the bore before the storm. Like,
Yeah.
it didn't make me feel uneasy because I was like, oh man, like
Yeah.
I like the stuff I did like was the Imperial guy that's undercover, and I liked seeing him set up like, hey, I need you guys to fix that railing, and then he's like, oh, but take the night, enjoy the show kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoyed that where it's like, oh, he's setting things up. But then anytime it go back to Cassian, and this isn't a good, like, again, I've loved this series so far, but in this episode, every time they'd go back to Cassian, I would find myself being like a little bummed. And I'm like, that's not a good thing when that's my reaction to the main character of the show. And so I was like, okay, like, again, this is just one episode.
Right.
And like I said, I like the other stuff. So that's a little bit of my concern is like, if this continues to happen, and I don't think it will, because I think it's going to pick up and you're going to find more. Maybe some of these characters die, or
they'll shoot some
maybe they
blasters
develop.
for you, all right?
No, I don't care about guys. I love
I'm just
BVS,
I'm trolling you,
and
dude.
there's
I'm
hardly
trolling
any
you.
action in that. Like, I love slow burns. I love stuff that's like, I don't need to see blasters and stuff. Like the stuff with the Empire when they're talking about like Ryloth and Hosnian Prime and all this stuff, like that got me super excited. I was like, oh yeah, tell me about that. What's going on? That's just dialogue, and I was freaking out about that. The stuff with Cassian and this group just didn't, hit for me. So like I said, I know a lot of people love this episode. For me, it didn't hit because I felt like it was just rehashing stuff we had already seen. So hopefully,
I think
the next episode kind of picks up a little bit.
I mean, I think it has to. Like
Yeah.
the way they're setting
We're
it
on
up, so.
episode 5 out of 12.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. I think, the biggest thing for me is that I see these moments where they're like building with the different characters where it's like, oh, I super don't believe you and and all this like, this kind of like sentiment towards each other. And it's like, you know why they're doing that. Because when they start doing the mission, there's going to be a moment where that matters. Like, and they make a decision. Like he maybe, catches him when he's about to fall. And then he looks at him and you're like, they understand each other.
They do
like
trust
this is kind of what I'm seeing, and this is kind of what I'm bored of. Is I'm like these common tropes, which in most cases, if you do a common trope, you'll do it in just a little different way, and it's just like I don't know. It just feels like I've just watched this before. Yeah. But that's just me. That's just me. I know you guys love it, so I love you guys for that. I hope you guys are living your lives. Yeah.
Living large, baby.
But yeah, no, this episode has now currently dropped my score from a 7.2 back down to a 7.1.
2-point drop. 2-point drop.
Way to go, episode 5. What the heck?
Drop the ball.
But we're not even halfway. So
That's right.
yeah,
And the new episode comes out
At midnight.
at midnight.
soon.
So
No,
I might
guys,
be staying up
don't
after
date
editing this.
ourselves, guys. Soon it comes
I'll
out.
let you know. Anything else? You guys? Any other things you guys want to?
Not much. I mean, the show still looks amazing.
Yeah.
It still looks
that
very,
is-
very good.
Yeah.
I like what they're doing too. An interesting thing that do you guys stick around to watch the Andor, like the title come up?
You mean at the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always do.
So every time the you can skip it.
I don't do that.
I don't skip intros.
Every
baby.
time,
either.
every time
It's a sin.
they add more to the music, to the theme. So like in the first one, it was just like that, woo, 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 woo,
Yeah.
and then the drums came in. They
I
I can't
keep
wait for
adding
the
stuff.
accordion in
'Cause I-
the season finale.
Because I remember the first one, I felt was super awkward because I was like, "Is my sound up?" And they're like, "What is that?"
So that's kinda
And then
cool.
the next one, I was like, "Oh," and then the next one, I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah,
Okay.
that's kind of cool that they're doing that. It's-
That's probably the most innovative thing they've done.
The other question. So I thought the dude was on Coruscant, but apparently someone was saying he's on Hosnian Prime.
What dude?
The dude with his mother.
I thought he was on Coruscant.
I don't
They
think
went
it's
to
Coruscant.
the basement.
I don't think
the
it's
mother's
Coruscant.
basement guy.
Really?
I thought
Yeah,
it
I
was
think it is
Coruscant.
Who
But
said it?
I don't know. I was
Who said
watching
it?
a review thing and it
Blue
was like,
Angel.
Name 'em.
and I don't know
Babyface.
what it was. It might have been new rock stars or whatever. I thought they were saying that they were like, oh, it's cool that he's on Hosnian Prime. We know that what happens to Hosnian Prime later. I
could
don't
have
think he's on
sworn
Coruscant.
there was like a setup of them flying
They
into
did because they
Coruscant.
flew into Coruscant, and then it
Huh?
showed
Maybe it
it showed him getting off.
Yeah.
What?
like the
into the
transport.
train the train
maybe that was
station.
Hosnian Prime though, guys.
I think maybe I don't know.
Did you guys
I-
see?
I feel like it
How do
was
they
in
know?
the same sequence as they showed Coruscant. We saw the ISB
Yeah,
stuff, so it was all
yeah.
like grouped together. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
but that I mean,
Maybe I'll-
But did
maybe
you guys
do you
see-
guys know what Hosnian Prime looks like? I
Did
mean,
you see
I know
any
what
They
signs?
named
Coruscant looks
Coruscant,
like.
though.
Did
Yeah.
you see any signs?
Did it
though?
say Coruscant on there?
Yeah.
It does. Doesn't the title say Coruscant when they fly in there?
That's what I thought.
I don't know, guys. I'm just saying. That's why I asked the question.
I know it didn't say Hosnian
thought-
Prime.
Yeah, I know what
thought
that
it
I know
was.
for sure.
I thought it was Coruscant, but I saw a video somewhere and they were saying Hosnian Prime, so I was like, "Huh,
I'll
is that
have to-
really
I'll
Hosnian
have to
Prime?"
rewatch it because I was
Yeah,
100%.
Let us know in the comments
No,
because I'm sure
we keep
someone.
doing that. We keep asking people to fact check.
Fact check.
No
after
one
the
does
fact.
it. No one fact checks.
They
for
will.
us.
Someone will.
Someone will.
Oh, they will.
Yeah.
We got
I
doctors
trust our fans.
behind
Yeah,
us
we
here.
got.
You trust
we got
our
top-
fans?
We got top people on this.
Okay, all right.
Is he on Hosnian Prime or is he on Coruscant? Let us know.
All right.
Thank you. Looking forward to the clarification.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's all.
Cool.
I guess.
Well, glad we couldn't help you.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys.
Met with a lot of confusion.
Yeah.
This guy was just,
bring
this
it
guy
in.
was just asking.
I was just asking. You guys were like yelling at me. No.
How dare you?
Please.
Well,
Absolutely not.
yeah. There's no way he's on Hosnian Prime. Ain't no
I mean,
way.
that'd be cool though.
Why?
Because Hosnian Prime gets blown up.
So?
Eventually, like,
Pretty cool that this planet blows up in 40 years, huh? Pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
it's cool. It's cool to see stuff like that. Connections in the galaxy, far, far away,
Nah,
homies.
it's cheap.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I want someone
Would
to
you rather be back on Tatooine?
Yeah.
If I'm gonna see a new planet, I want to like see the planet, like show me around, not just this one kitchen
Also, if it's
little
like a-
apartment.
He
Also,
did
it's
it.
just
You
a-
saw them. You saw him at the bus station.
Yeah, it was Coruscant.
Yeah.
I don't think it was.
Bro, I don't care.
That's a big deal, dude. Actually, now that Jonah mentions it, it drops my score down a little. 6.9. If he's on Hosnian Prime, it drops down a full point.
Whoa, dang, bro.
But if we're a Coruscant, it goes up.
Yep.
Anyway, that'll do it for our Andor episode 5 discussion. We'll be back next week with episode 6. Thank you for listening, for watching, and we'll see y'all next week.